Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you the most overpowered build in Nioh 3. This will be for the early to mid game to around levels 50. Now, I honestly think that the tonfas and spear are some of the best weapons for both the ninja and the samurai here. Using ninja tools is great because we can match elements depending on what the boss is weak against. So if there's a boss that's using water damage, you can then whip out the lightning damage. The great thing is we can recover our ki while the enemies is continually getting hit by our ranged weapons here so that we can break their posture easily and take down bosses fast. We'll be going over everything from what equipment to use, what ninjutsus you want to have equipped, what items you're going to be using, and everything about this. First, starting with our stat spread. Now, this is at level 52 here. I'm about 2 major bosses down, so it just really depends where in the game you're at. But I do think, honestly, the first skill that we want to put points into is our skill. And it won't really matter until the second boss to actually take Constitution. So I would actually recommend, and respecs are free in this game, put all your points into skill in early game. I have 1 in magic for certain gear that we want to use. Heart is great for a bit more ki so that we can keep delivering attacks, but I don't find that it's as impactful as taking more points into skill. And some Constitution. This really depends on your own personal skill level. I didn't really even touch the Constitution for the first boss, the Jakutsu Baba, but once you get to the next one, you definitely want to put that up a bit to be able to survive 2 attacks. Now, skill again being the main one. Skill is really nice too because, 1, our Constitution scales up our tonfas, and so does the skill. And it also does apply to our spear weapons and split staff if you want to use it, but this is honestly solid because it's giving us all major weapons that we want to be using. Next is our ninja and samurai points. Honestly, I'm going to start with the ninja here. It's best to go around and start with grabbing the kunai first. Now, the reason the kunai is so great is because this gives us another ninja tool that we can throw alongside shuriken. They deal solid amounts of damage, and we want to have something that we're recovering because every time that we attack, we're accumulating our ninja tools back. So at the bottom right-hand side of the screen here, you can see they have an accumulation rate of 10. You could go to the storm kunai, but it has a slower accumulation rate. And I do think the kunai, shuriken, and then also grabbing the uncanny bubble for the first boss. These are the first 2 points that I went with kunai and the water bubble. This gives us an attack that's actually useful against a difficult boss, and then another tool that we can continually throw. Another really important one is the evade skill here, which gives you ki back whenever you get a perfect dodge off, which is great because we need that. And one more I'll mention, I wouldn't recommend grabbing this first, but the uncanny bolt is good against the second boss, whereas the uncanny bubble is great against the first. And since we're primarily using tonfas on a build like this, which are just insane like they were in Nioh 2, we're going to want to put our points into here next. And for this upgrade tree, I would recommend coming over here. Mounted Breaker, I really like this move. So basically, whenever you're attacking, you're going to flick up on the control stick, and you're going to also press Y. This gives you a jump attack, which is nice because you can jump over enemies, and it doesn't always break their guard, but it sometimes gives you an easier opening against them. Now, Strike Storm's also really nice because with Strike Storm, you press and hold your heavy attack button, and you're going to do this jumping around move. What's amazing about this is you can actually dodge bosses' attacks with using this, especially if you time it well, because you're going to attack, jump back, and attack as well. Now, the third one I'd recommend grabbing is going with the Demon Dance here. So this will change our miss to have less distance traveled whenever you press the right button after you attack, and it gives you increased invulnerability. But this also leads to some other good choices. I like to grab the Pulverize here, allowing you to do multiple attacks afterwards. So you just press X multiple times after you do the Dragon's Dance, and it'll continue to follow up with more attacks. The Shove is also nice, so if you do a quick attack, you can then follow it up with a heavy, and it's going to stun the bot or stun the enemy a little bit. And if you really like, the parry is important, but I found that dodging away and using ninja tools was my preferred way of playing. But if you like the parry style, Impenetrability and Dragon Slayer are solid choice as well. But I'd honestly start off with a ninja in the progression, being grabbing the kunai, grabbing the uncanny bubble for the first boss. You can respec it afterwards. And also grabbing evade. These are the first 3 that we'd like to grab, and then progressing over to the tonfas for either Storm of Strikes first or Mounted Breaker. I prefer Mounted Breaker a little bit more if you're choosing between the 2 of those, and then Storm of Strikes, and then into the Demon Dance here. But you could also go ahead and grab the Impenetrability here. Now, Flying Chariot's kind of funny because you swing them around, but it's much better to go with the Wasp Sting, which gives you a rush forward attack. You do have to press forward in your control stick to be able to use this one, but it's a nice mobility skill. Or the Flying Drill. And for the Samurai, you want to grab the stances here. High stance is more damage focused, and it does leave you more vulnerable. However, the low stance is more mobile and gives you less ki consumption. So it's nice to be able to switch between these here depending on what you're going against and the weapon you want to use. I found the spear to be best. Deflect being the first one you want to take, though. This is going to press left button here to be able to block an attack. Now, you can't actually get this until you fight the first mini boss of the game, but afterwards you want to take that Flux is also nice, which you can switch your stance and you're going to get an increased amount of ki back whenever you do your ki pulse. And for our samurai points for the spear, now there's a couple options that we have. The fatal thrust is really nice with a 2-point cost, but basically you're going to automatically grapple an enemy. So this can be nice to just be a finisher if you see an enemy that got their ki broken from a distance. I also like to go with the resounding lunge here, which is the last samurai point cost of only 1. This also press Y to charge and allow you to charge up your attacks and do a shockwave. I think that this one is a little bit better between the two of these, but it does have a higher cost. But this does lead you now to the Rainbow Ruse, which I think is really nice. So this lets you use your spear after you do a ki pulse to dodge an attack. This is really nice once you get access to it because it's just more mobility on the character that's not as mobile when you're playing Samurai. And if you can find the Samurai martial arts guide to get Resounding Lunge Extend, this is nice too. You can go with this here. It will then cost the 2 points, but it's worth it at that point. I'm also a big fan of Rising Dragon. This is kind of situational, but if you get knocked down, you press Y to jump back up and give it an attack, and it comes out pretty quickly. Body Swap is also great because this sets you up for a backstab attack, so this has to be in mid stance, but you press the left stick forward and Y to use. And I'm also a fan of the triple threat, but when it comes to samurai points, I'd recommend grabbing the stances first and then progressing our way to the resounding lunge here and grabbing these stances over here before coming over to this section here with a pole kick, body swap, and triple threat. Now for our soul cores here, managed soul cores, Omnio box, I like to have the Ryomen Sukuna. If you're a fan of Jujutsu Kaisen, this is perfect, but in the Yang position here, this gives you a really nice summon. You can only use it one time, but honestly, sometimes it's annoying to use these 4 or 5 times in combat because they do have a wind-up. This one does have pretty solid damage, and it also has nice stats that it can give you, so I like to have this one in the Yang position. And then in the Yin position, once you get the... I guess it really depends on the boss you're going against. Lightning charges here against lightning bosses are amazing. It really, again, depends on the fight you're up against. The Ryomen Sukuna here can also give you the Bless Bolt Talisman, which is nice because it shoots a magical arrow. You got 5 of them, and they're pretty powerful, but you would need to not use them in the Yang position. Spirit Leech Talismans are nice because this lets you absorb Spirit Force from enemies. The Devigorate lets the enemy, or makes the enemy's attack power go down. There's also ones that makes them take extra damage. I don't have it at the current moment. I end up clearing it out, but or actually I have a Weakness Talisman. This is the other one that I really like. This just lets you do more damage, and that's obviously really nice. So I'd recommend having this one here if you have no other choices, and they're actually pretty common. Skills will be as you get them though, but the ones that I have are Spiritualism, getting more Spirit Force, more Emerita whenever you die, Samurai giving increased defense and preventing us from getting staggered when we're with this active. And then for the Ninja, I like to roll with the Hollow Form. Your mist leaves an after image, which with enemies touch it will give you ki back. This is actually a really good one to have. And the Wrathful Dragon, this will make it so that when we hit with them with a ninjutsu, they take increased elemental damage. Kodama Blessings, I like to have the increased damage dealt and the meta sufficiency. There's a lot of buffs here. Jizu Blessing, giving yourself increased melee damage in the Crucible is perfect. And for a Guardian Spirit, honestly, it's personal preference. I just like Enko here, Big Cat. And I think the Hellfire Maul is great on the tonfas, and it's also the highest level one that I have here. So yeah, I personally find this is a pretty useful one to have. Although Nikomata here gives you increased ninjutsu ki damage, which is nice, because that's exactly what we want to use them for. Now, it's hard to recommend gear. You're likely going to want to keep your dodge reduction below 70%. That gives us the quicker dodge. So yeah, you can see there some of them are putting us above 70. I'm just using the available equipment that I have. It may not be the best, but you got to mix and match. This game has so much loot. You're going to be looking for anything that can increase your ki or life or ki recovery speeds are best. And obviously named sets are good too if you're able to get them. But yeah, you're likely going to be looking for the best defenses and anything that's going to increase our ki or overall health. So I also would recommend, obviously we're using a tonfa. I think these weapons are just insanely powerful. I have a really good set here, but again, use whatever's best available. Same deal with the bow here. We're just going to go for that. Now, fans, again, we also want to look for ki recovery speed, but you may not be able to activate some of the other ones without expending more slots or stats. And for the items equipped, I like to have Sacred Water. This is going to give us the increased ki recovery speed. I also like to have the Lightning Shikigami here. I was going against the Lightning boss, but whatever you're using for your Yang position or Yin position. I have in the Yang position the Ryomen Sukuna here, which again, just throw it out once and you don't have to think about it again. And elixirs, obviously. And putting this all together, typically we want to open up a fight with our ninja tools because we want to be able to recover them. Now, you can see that little status that was building up on the character there. This is meaning that they're going to be taking more elemental damage from our dragon seal that we had. And that just applies to elemental damage, so anything that we use from range. Now you can see there, we basically broke down his ki, and he's low in ki, but we need to stun him. So we're going to continue to keep attacking there. Anytime you're fighting a boss and you do this to them, they'll pull you into the darkness realm. You want to keep attacking this way because they're going to continually get their ki back, but you want to keep the pressure up whenever that's happening. And boss fights are really just a game of getting your ninja tools back. So you want to basically be using them whenever you need a moment to be able to get your own ki back, but you still want to keep draining the enemy's ki. So like, I'm running low on ki, I'm going to run away here and start slinging crap at him so that his ki bar, which you see below his health, is still stunning there. And then we can get back in. We basically made him stun himself there. The stun on this build is insane. You can use some of your crazy attacks there, basically get in, get back out, keep the ki burning down on the enemy there, and then you're gonna just basically, whenever his ki is broke or low to the ground, you can then just go in and finish him off. And sometimes just using your ki, or sometimes just using your throwables will be the way to go. So you can see here, we got this boss to get their health is slowly going down there. So we got the posture bar up. He now pulls us into the darkness realm and gets his ki back. So that's something to keep in mind. Whenever you're fighting against bosses, you want to keep that pressure up, even if it feels scarier because it got dark there. You're just going to continue to want to keep attacking. But they have a much faster sustain there, so it's something that's a little bit more challenging. But if you're playing alongside a summon there, you can let them tank to be able to keep your ninja tools off on them. You basically want to be draining your ninja tools, but not getting out of all of them, so you can go and attack, regain your ninja tools, and then use those to keep the ki going down and down on the boss. So that is what I think to be the most overpowered build in the early game of Nioh 3. Tonfas and spears are great. So let me know your thoughts in the comments, or if you have any other tips or tricks you'd like to share in the comments, feel free to leave them below. Hope you guys all have a great day, and we'll catch you in the next one. Subscribe if this was useful.